catching a vibe. This is episode 11. This is the Super Bowl special. And today we're doing a fantasy draft. Old school versus new school. And I had to get the man, the myth, the legend back on. Chris Mrazza.
Appreciate it. Happy to be here.
Yep.
I got a little favor to ask you before we start.
What is that?
I was hoping we could spice up the set a little bit.
Okay. You brought something?
I brought some things.
Alright. Let's see it.
Alright, hold on just a sec.
I had no clue he was doing this.
Okay.
Ah, you liar. I knew it.
Okay. So this is as close as slime ever gets to this.
So, for those that don't know, this is our work fantasy trophy. And this guy got pretty lucky this year. No injuries, nothing. So he won it. He had a good squad, though.
My first year trying, let me just say. In years past, I would pick Browns and just screw around. And this year, my biggest adjustment
Was no Browns.
So, and in case you didn't know, my team's called the Goats.
Yeah.
In case you couldn't figure that out by
the
all the
1,000
stuff.
goats.
So, I figured, well, since we're doing a draft, Slime will never see this in his house.
We'll see.
I thought I'd bring it over. So shout out to DL. She made this
Shout out
trophy.
DL.
It gets passed around, and it's now in its rightful hands.
I'll have it next year, hopefully.
So thought we'd spice up the.
Yeah, that's cool. I like it.
All right, cool.
So we're doing new school versus old school. Fantasy draft. So I'm picking players from 2000 to the 2010s. You're picking players from the 80s, 90s, correct?
The 80s and 90s. Yep, that's what I focused on.
So-
Which I graduated high school in '85, so that's right in my wheelhouse
Gotcha.
when I really was into football.
Yeah, same here.
Yeah.
And we're only picking players that have been to a Super Bowl or won a Super Bowl. Hopefully this guy picks players that went, but we'll see.
Well, guess what? There are no Browns.
No
on
Browns.
that list.
Shocker. Unless we were doing like the 50s with Jim Brown, the
No,
Super Bowl.
no
Or,
Browns, no Lions, but everybody else.
Yeah.
I think.
All right. Do
All
you
right.
want to start with offense or defense?
However you want to do it, buddy.
I think the offense will be more fun. We'll save that for last. Let's go defense.
Okay.
So give me your defensive ends first.
Defensive ends. Okay, you'll see a little bit of a theme. I was a big Bears fan back in the day, and when they had some of you heard of the '85 Bears team.
Of course,
It
iconic.
was like one of the best in NFL history. So do you want both of my DNs?
Yeah, give me both.
I went with Reggie White and then the other one that's a little less famous, he was on that Bears team, Richard Dent.
Can't go wrong with Reggie White. He's probably a top 3 defensive end of all time.
He was amazing and a good dude too.
Yeah. So my defensive ends, I went with Dwight Freeney, the spin move master, and Michael Strahan, the single season sack record. So I think we're both off to a good start.
Yeah, I do too.
D tackles, who you got?
Okay, D tackles. I put 3 down because this first name, I don't think he went to a Super Bowl.
Okay.
John Randall.
Vikings,
played
right?
with the Vikings. I don't believe he made it. But the 2 who I know went to a Super Bowl. In fact, I'm pretty sure they both won Super Bowls. One was Warren Sapp, and the other is one of those 85 Bear linemen. His name is Dan Hampton.
Dan Hampton.
Hall of Famer.
Hall of Famer.
Good player.
Yeah.
That D line. That D was sick.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. So those were my two. We'll eliminate Randall because I don't think he made it to the Super Bowl.
I'm like 90% sure he didn't. So my defensive tackles, Aaron Donald. A lot of people consider him the greatest defensive tackle of all time.
He's sick.
My second one, I went Warren Sapp. So that's the first player that we both picked. Yeah, because he won with the Buccaneers when they had that great defense.
He was probably real young in the late 90s.
Yeah.
Probably Miami U, right?
Yep. He took The Rock's starting spot at the U.
Okay.
Yeah.
You know, when I said there was going to be a guy that might be on both of our lists,
it
wasn't him. It wasn't him.
Okay.
No.
All right, so let's go linebackers.
Okay, linebackers. We needed 3, right?
Yep.
Okay, cool. I have 3. I mean, Lawrence Taylor.
Yeah, LT.
I mean, come on.
You can't go wrong.
He may have been the most disruptive defensive player I've ever seen.
Yeah.
Then we're going to go dive into that 85 Bears team and go with Mike Singletary. Some of you might remember he actually was a head coach for the Niners for a few years.
Called out Vern Davis that one time.
He was just, for as small as he was just unbelievable.
I was like shocked when I heard, first time hearing he was a nasty linebacker because he looked small.
And middle linebacker, not outside.
Yeah. Yeah,
he wasn't very big, but man, intense player.
Mm-hmm.
And then third, as much as I hate to put a Steeler on here, my justification was he's a Kent State boy. I'm a Kent State boy. Jack Lambert.
He went to Kent State?
Yeah.
I did not know that.
Just a mean, old school linebacker. Just would tear your head off.
Yes.
Even if he was your friend on the football field.
Back when defenders were allowed to hit.
Yeah, so those are my 3. Lawrence Taylor, Mike Singletary, Jack Lambert.
I like it. So my linebackers, I went with Ray Lewis, probably one of my favorite players of all time. Great leader.
What a player.
Second one, I went Derek Brooks.
Yeah, I liked Derek Brooks.
He was a stud. Then my third one, Von Miller.
Yeah.
Took over that Super Bowl against the Panthers.
Just can't argue any of those picks. Brooks surprised me out of the 3 that you chose, but yeah, great picks.
Thank you, Cobb. So corners.
Okay, my 3 are Deion Sanders. And the last 2 both played, I want to say, crazy amount of years in the league. 18, 19 years.
Uh-huh.
Darrell Green was with Washington Redskins. And then here was the other guy that I thought might be on your list too, Charles Woodson.
Okay. He is on my list.
Is he?
Yeah.
Because he had a long career, and I think he started in the late 90s.
Mm-hmm.
And, of course, he would be someone in your era, more so than even mine.
Right.
So those were my 3. Deion.
You can't go wrong with primetime locking it down.
No.
Darrell Green, he's like one of the fastest players ever considered, right?
Right, and the fact he did it in his mid-30s at that position.
That's unheard of.
Right, I mean, you see maybe kickers and O-linemen.
Quarterbacks,
but
playing the 30s.
Corners.
Yeah.
Because I think Woodson may have switched over to safety.
He did.
But Green, corner.
His whole career. That's crazy.
That's impressive.
Yeah. So, my corners, I went Darrelle Revis, Charles Woodson, like you said. Then Champ Bailey is my three
Champ
corners.
Bailey, Broncos, Super
Yep.
Bowl.
Yep. He wasn't very good when they went to the Super Bowl because he was older, but he was locking it down back in the 2000s.
Good player.
Yeah.
Good player.
So now we have safeties.
Safeties.
I think I have you on safety.
I do too, mainly because of my second pick.
All right, let's hear it.
Did you see my list?
No, I'm waiting for it.
All right, number one, you can't argue with this one. Ronnie Lott.
I mean, cut his finger off just to play.
Right. What a hitter.
Yeah.
I mean, that was, the game was different. You receivers literally got their, well, not literally, but got their heads taken off.
Oh,
over
absolutely.
the middle. It was free game.
Right.
Before all these rules to
Yeah.
help with the concussions and the very violent injuries.
Right.
I mean, it was a lot. Could bring it with the best.
Oh, absolutely.
All right, Kyle. Most of you, probably none of you, will even know who this is. Doug Plank.
Who the fuck is that guy?
No clue.
Little bit of history. Doug Plank was on the Bears.
Okay.
Buddy Ryan was the D coordinator who invented the 46 defense. And the reason why that defense is named the 46, it's nothing to do with scheme, like 4 linemen, 6 whatever.
Uh-huh.
Doug Plank wore number 46. But with that defense, you don't hear much of it today, but it was basically putting literally as many of the guys on the line of scrimmage as you could imagine, and then the offense didn't know who was coming and who what wasn't.
Okay.
They might have 9 guys on the line of scrimmage, 8 guys, and people would come from everywhere. And when that defense was brand new, offenses didn't know how to
have
handle
an
it.
answer for it.
So if you're interested, YouTube, 85 Bears defense, or even Doug Plank to see. He was just he wasn't a great safety, but he was a ferocious hitter.
Okay.
He was like an assassin.
I might have to warn my receivers going middle of the field. Watch out for Plank.
Watch out for Big 46. So that was the reason for putting him on the list.
Okay.
We might dive into what the significance of 46 a little more too.
For sure.
All right.
So my safeties, I went with Ed Reed.
Oh,
the greatest ball hawk of all time.
So
can't
good.
beat it.
So good. Baited.
Yes.
Quarterbacks. Oh my gosh.
And
good.
Peyton Manning told us one story about Ed Reed, that Ed Reed on purpose messed up a coverage. And so Peyton Manning thought he had him the next time, and Ed Reed out of nowhere picked him off. You watch Belichick and Tom Brady talking about Ed Reed. I mean, dude was just a player.
Yeah, amazing.
Amazing. Then my second one, he put a Steeler on here, but you gotta go with Troy Polamalu. You have to. Talking about the 2000s and 2010s, yeah, those two are by far the best safeties.
Disruptive players at that position.
Jumping over the line to stop a QB sneak, like.
I mean, when have the Browns ever had a player like that?
Never.
Never.
So the defenses, who do you think won the defensive round?
Why? I think that would be an interesting matchup.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, today's game is a lot more speed.
Right.
Whereas, so your defense, if you need speed, would be the better defense.
Yeah.
But if you wanted a run, stop, and physical defense,
right,
it's probably mine.
Yeah.
I mean, that just kind of shows how the game's changed.
Yes, the different eras of the NFL. So we got the offense now. Who's starting on over the Cuz?
At quarterback,
Yep, go quarterback.
I went number 1, Joe Montana.
Okay.
And number 2, only got to 1 Super Bowl and lost, Dan Marino.
That's so crazy of me that he only got to one, and it was his second year. Is that right?
He was so accurate and so good. It
Mhm.
is amazing that he never won a Super Bowl. In Montana, I think he went 4-0, maybe 3-0. I forget Steve Young was in the mix too.
Yeah, definitely 3 or 4 Super Bowls for
Yeah.
Montana. So my QBs, you got the GOAT, Tom Brady. And my second one is Peyton Manning, the Sheriff.
Peyton Manning. Manning, that pick surprises me a little bit from you.
Did you think I was going Drew Brees?
I didn't think about it too much, but yeah, it is kind of, now that you asked, it is hard to believe you left Breeze off of your
Because
list.
he's my favorite player ever. The reason I started watching football was because of him.
And he won one, right?
Yep.
Manning won two, but the second one was
carried by Von Miller's defense.
Right. Yeah. Well, that's interesting.
All right. Running backs.
Okay, the easiest selection out of all the positions for me was my RB1, and that is Walter Payton.
Sweetness.
He was my favorite player as a kid. I'd be interesting to see if his game would translate today, because he wasn't the fastest. He certainly wasn't the biggest, but man, did he play big.
Mm-hmm.
What a player.
Yeah.
And I had a hard time with my number 2. So definitely not a Super Bowl guy, Bo Jackson. Oh my gosh, it would have been nice to see if he could have had his career.
The greatest Madden player ever.
And the other 2 I had on my list, are we picking 3 or 2?
I did too.
Okay. And I guess I would choose honorable mention Eric Dickerson, and then my number 2 would be Marcus Allen.
Marcus Allen.
Yeah.
He was pretty damn good
smooth.
too. Yeah.
So smooth.
Yes, his one Super Bowl run was insane.
Yeah.
So my running backs, I went with Marshall Faulk. Yeah, the greatest show on turf. Probably the greatest pass-catching running back of all time.
Yeah.
It'd
be nice to have him on fantasy.
Yeah. Dude. So my second guy, I went Edgerrin James. Colts, but he did play in a Super Bowl with the Cardinals, so that's how he got the nod. I was thinking about picking Marshawn Lynch, but I think Edgerrin James had a better career.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
Those are solid picks.
Thank you. Receivers now.
Okay, I got a list. I mean, I have 5 guys on my list. We were only allowed to pick 3.
Mm-hmm.
Number 1, Jerry Rice. Pretty easy one there.
Easy.
Number 2, Randy Moss. And then here's where it got hard. Let me throw you these 3 names I have on my list. T.O.
Yep.
Tim Brown.
Mm-hmm.
And here's one that'll surprise you. I just love the way this guy played. Hines Ward. Again.
I don't understand how he was so good. He doesn't look like he was ever in shape to me.
He was just one of those players that you'd like to have 10 of them on your team.
Yeah.
You put him out there, plays 100% every play, good teammate.
Yeah.
All those intangibles.
Yeah.
So I guess I'll go Rice, Moss, and Tim Brown.
Tim
Those
Brown?
three.
Okay.
Yep.
Shout out the Raiders. That makes my dad happy. So my receivers, I went Randy Moss. You can't. I mean, you have to. The most touchdowns in a season with the Patriots. That 07 team.
Just a freak.
Freak. Number 2, I went T.O.
Oh.
Yeah. Because those two are back and forth for a lot of people. Then my third one, I went Marvin Harrison. Yeah. Marvin Harrison. Peyton made that connection.
Good picks.
Yeah.
Up and down.
So now we have tight ends.
Tight ends. I'll be short with these. Shannon Sharp. And Kellen Winslow.
Uncle Shay. Did you see that clip of Skip disrespecting Shannon Sharp? He says that Shannon's jealous of Tom Brady for being great as long as he has.
I guess I haven't.
Yeah, but Shannon Sharp was a great tight end.
Now, is he the one that's on the show with Skip?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Because there was a Sterling Sharp, too. He was a great wide receiver. They were brothers.
Yeah.
Or they are brothers.
Mm-hmm. He hurt his neck, and that's what caused him to retire early. That's a shame.
Those are some good football players. The Sharp boys.
Yeah. Now my tight ends. I went Gronk. And Kelsey. I think it's time to say Kelsey's the greatest tight end ever.
Wow. He is.
He's played 9 straight years without getting hurt. And just, Mahomes is going to Kelsey every time. And he's open every single time.
And he draws a crowd, and he takes a lot of hits.
Yeah.
He almost takes hits like a running back takes hits.
Yes. It's crazy to me how open he gets.
He's so good.
Yeah.
So good.
Yeah.
I would say yours are better than mine in that position.
Tight ends,
yeah,
for sure. So now we have offensive line. For all those offensive linemen out there, don't get angry at us. We just picked a team.
Now here's where I'm gonna. My O-line, I want to shout out Emmett because I know I didn't put Emmett on my running backs list because Dallas Cowboys O-line was amazing.
Yeah.
And I think as great as he was, like put my other running backs behind that line.
Yeah.
I mean, Peyton played on some trash Chicago teams.
Mm-hmm.
That's why I wanted to say Emmett, as great as he was, I left him off the running back list, but I put his O-line as my best O-line.
Gotcha.
In that era.
No, I like that because I was like researching like the top 10 offensive lines of all time, and the 90s Cowboys came up.
Oh, did they?
Yeah.
They were good.
Mm-hmm. So for my offensive line, I went with the 2005 Seattle Seahawks. I mean, shout out Sean Alexander, but those boys up front paved the way. He had 1,800 rushing yards and 27 touchdowns. I mean, once they get these backs, Marshall Faulk and Edgerrin James.
Yeah.
I think both of those are great offensive lines.
I do too.
Yeah.
I do too.
So the offense, who do you think won that matchup?
Man. Again, different eras.
Right.
Different styles of football. It's coin flip.
Yeah. Here, let me ask you this question. Do you have a score prediction if our two squads faced off?
Well, I mean, just based on the coaching, I believe that my squad would translate better, and it would be the 80s, 90s team, 63.
Oh my god.
Zeros team, 3. 663 to 3.
Oh my god. Can't give me any credit, huh?
No. I think if these two teams played each other 10 times, we might go 5 and 5
5
against
and 5?
one another.
Yeah. I think the new school team would win 24 to 21.
Oh,
A
wow.
Tom Brady comeback.
Kind of a low scoring game.
Yeah. I mean, with those
Brady.
defenses.
Brady versus Montana would be interesting.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, winners.
Yeah. Seeing Randy Moss go up against Deion Sanders.
Yeah.
That would be entertaining to watch.
I wonder if you could make this game happen on. I don't play Madden or anything. Could you? Are you able to like simulate a game?
It'd be hard to get all of the players, but I'll try my best and
That
see
would be
playing around. Yeah. So.
Well, that was fun.
Yeah, that was. Thank you for coming on. I appreciate it. Thank you guys for watching. Hope you guys enjoyed. We'll see you next time. Peace.